Hello and welcome back to In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. It's Friday night, we're halfway through, and wow, what a day at Epsom we've had today with Frankie Dettori on his farewell tour, taking home both Group 1s in, quite frankly, very similar fashion. Let everyone else get on with what they want to do and rattle down the outside to score. And as you can see, representing the Lady Bamford Silks in tribute to the great man today as well. That's right, Soul Sister makes another win for Dettori and Gosden in the Oaks, of course, beating the O'Brien favourite into second. We spent ages previewing these races, and it's obvious, isn't it? O'Brien or Gosden, second favourite beats the first beats the favourite, and we can all go home. Will it be the same tomorrow in the Derby? Of course, there's going to be money now for a rest as the Dettori multiples start to pile up. And as for tomorrow's card at Epsom, hopefully we can pick a few winners. There's no shortage of runners, and there's no shortage of sprints either. Well, we've got the Derby, and then 3 or 4 races that probably take just as long to run in combination as the feature will do tomorrow. And of course the feature is at 1:30 as well, so you'll be able to pop the lunch in the microwave, go and watch the big race, and then go and eat it in the sun, and hopefully having backed a winner as well. This is live and interactive, so if you are watching on the on YouTube or on Facebook, get in touch. The chat box is open and everyone is already ready and raring to go. And Nicholas Ramroop said the Frankie double landed indeed. Well done, Nicholas. And hello to the racing team and to Destiny Sounds, to Barry Arthur, to Carol Ann, and to Samuel Hart, producer Samuel Hart, who has followed Darkness off a cliff this season and I'm sure was counting his cash, only to be denied on the line in the last at Epsom. Welcome to flat racing, welcome to fast ground, welcome to big field handicaps, and welcome to Robbie Wilders in the studio.
What a sign off. Yeah, as you can see, also got me Soul Sister silks on.
Look at that.
First wear of this garment tonight.
Yeah. We didn't communicate before about this.
We didn't.
We just knew psychically, I think, what was going to happen.
Yeah, well, I didn't actually back Soul Sister, so I'm sort of. I mean, that race cost me a few quid, so I don't really know why I'm supporting her. But impressive enough.
Yeah.
Even though it probably wasn't the best race, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, it's but often it's the best ride at Epsom a lot of the time, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. I think you look back on it and. And the times as well, it ran much slower than the Coronation Cup earlier on the cars. I thought Emily Upjohn was much more impressive today.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Emily Upjohn was very impressive. Tom Segal joining us at home. Will he also be wearing the Soul Sister silks? Oh, no.
It's like the last dance, unfortunately.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's more Diana Waitley almost. Those colours you've got there. You've got a nice little combo going on. But yeah, Frankie, like I said, we spend hours watching videos, going through speed figures, and trying to find value winners, Tom. And then Frankie turns up, 2 rides on the day, wins them both. It's just that easy, isn't it?
Well, it would help if the one you backed actually got a run rather than being withdrawn at the start. That doesn't help, does it? Having back running line at a big price, anti-post. So that wasn't a good start. But no, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought the Oaks was a bit of a run race, really. I don't even think the winner stayed. I thought she looked 2 furlongs out as though she was going to win by 20 lengths and didn't. She won by a length and a half. I think she's a mile and a quarter filly. I think she got away with it because the others were a run bunch. Save the last dance, didn't go a yard, did she? Thought she was beaten the whole way round. Ryan Moore was at her a long way from home. So I don't know. I thought Emily Upjohn was the star of the show. I thought she was brilliant. Like Robbie said, I think she's going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with in all races this season because I thought that was a really strong race. And she was the one for me today. I thought she was superb.
Yeah, she was. She was pretty spectacular. Does have an excellent record fresh, though, so it'll be interesting to see how they do plot her season, whether they do give her long breaks between those races. But if the Oaks winner is a 10 furlong for Lee Simon, she might go to Sandown, perhaps, for a bit of a crack at the Eclipse, or there'll be plenty of other opportunities. But what did you make of the Oaks, at the Coronation, and anything else that stood out on today's card?
Oh, listen, it was an extraordinary day to see Frankie Dettori on this farewell tour, which is lasting forever. But he's to win both Group 1s today and now, be sitting atop the favourites currently now for tomorrow's Derby with a rest, as that's shortened in reaction to his exploits today. There was something sort of extraordinary about that. Both, great rides coming from off the pace. he was oozing confidence. I saw him beforehand. He was full of fun, and he was. Sometimes you meet him before these big races, and he's quite stressed and tense and quiet, but he was in great form today. And then to go out with the race, do the flight dismount, there's nothing short of extraordinary. I mean, Eberly Upjohn is 5-1 for the Coral Eclipse. That was indicated as a possible target along with Royal Ascot, and hopefully she'll turn up there. It's a race John Gosden often has a serious contender for. But yeah, no, it was a great day. Epsom was fantastic, great crowd. The weather was amazing. It all sets up well for tomorrow. But obviously you've got the double whammy of a very early start for the Derby, and then not quite knowing what the hell these animal rising we're going to do tomorrow. But as I say, beyond that, all set fair for a good day tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we should probably stick to things that we can kind of control, and even those things we can't really control, can we? But fingers crossed everything goes without a hitch tomorrow, of course, at Epsom. But we will get stuck into tomorrow's card. Obviously, the Derby is the second race on the card, but we're going to leave it to last to preview. But I imagine with Tom Segal's patented 60-second sprint approach, more like a 6-second sprint approach, really, isn't it? We should rattle through those races fairly quickly. So we'll get to that in a second after this. Yeah, sign up to the Members Club then at the cusp of an incredibly busy summer on the flat. We've got 8 races at Epsom to go through to tomorrow. Obviously, the Derby is the feature. Like I said, plenty of sprints, a couple of nice other group races on the card as well. And we kick off with the Diomed Stakes, which is a Group 3 contest over a mile and 113 yards. And it wouldn't be the first time that the Diomed Stakes, that 113 yards, has made all the difference. But Highland Avenue is 5-4 favourite here. Colsai is 3-1. Regal Reality is 5-1. Escobar 17-2. And the outside two are Marie's Diamond and Imperial Fighter. This is the kind of race where horses come time and time again to have a crack at it. It has gone to old timers in the past who handled the track, Century Dream being the most notable of those. But it is the Appleby and Buick combination with Highland Avenue, who is a 5-year-old now, Robbie, but has barely seen the track, and he's had a funny old career. Well, he's barely had a career at all, hasn't he? And he's a short price tomorrow. Yeah,
he was all right as a 3-year-old. He sort of threatened. I think he ran to St James's Palace, didn't he, after winning the Heron Stakes, I think. I don't know. I wouldn't be taking a short price about him here. I mean, that run behind Adayar is obviously really good form. Mark won the Prix d'Ispahan, the seconds next time, but I don't know. I wouldn't take it too literally. Regal Reality was about 11 lengths back, but he's never liked soft ground at all. I could see him completely reversing that form. Certainly at 5-1, I'd rather be with Regal Reality. He much prefers quicker ground. He always needs his first run. Obviously, Sir Michael Stout can keep these older horses in good nick. And there's a chance Highland Avenue might bounce at his first run following a long break. So I think for those reasons, I'd definitely be against him.
Okay, Highland Avenue then, we're taking him on with the old boy Regal Reality. Of course, won a listed race at Windsor last year, beating Grosser Jack. That was a pretty decent performance, certainly a good enough performance to win this. So Regal Reality 5-1. But again, interesting to see how this race unfolds as well, Tom. Probably Marie's Diamond out in front, Escobar out the back, and everything else in between. But apart from the Austrian Theory race today, of course, whether you wanted to come from the back or they just kept going off too quick, but it hasn't necessarily suited those who've wanted to dictate. Will that be different in a smaller field, though?
Don't know. I mean, they open up the track, don't they? So it can be that case on this day. It's a much tighter bend into the straight. So normally the draw plays a bigger role on the Saturday than it does on the Sunday. But Epsom's, I don't know, you guys have obviously been there. It's incredibly long straight, Epsom. So it's where you start racing. I thought they got racing very early yesterday. And today, what am I talking about?
Depends on you watching this clip, Tom.
Maybe many horses came from the back. I don't know. I wouldn't worry too much about position. I'm going to say this very quietly. because I'm not sure. I'll get in trouble when I say this. Are Charlie Appleby's horses running very well?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that, but as soon as you say it, Tom, then the trebles and the 4/4 all come in, don't they?
Exactly. I just thought they were a bit laboured today, the both of them, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean,
I have for a couple of weeks. The problem is that they normally operate at such a high strike rate. We're looking at between sort of 1 in every 3 or 4 winning. That when they do dip, it is quite noticeable. So he's probably running to a strike rate that every other trainer would be thrilled with, but he has much higher standards.
You should do when you got 107 by Frankel and 25 and 200 by Dubawi. You should be having a high strike rate. For me, I'm just slightly concerned. I mean, I thought a lot of his best horses, obviously Modern Games was brilliant in the Lockinge, but a lot of his 3-year-olds have been running a little bit below par for me. I just like that. That's just something to bear in mind coming to the Derby. But for me, Highland Avenue is way too short, isn't he? 5 to 4. I mean, okay, the form was worked out well, but 5 to 4, no. I get Robbie's Regal Reality angle for sure. It's just whether he's quite quick enough as an 8-year-old back at a mile at a sort of downhill track round a bend. Could be. He could easily be. But I don't know. I thought the 3-year-old Colsai might be the one, just because he's getting so much weight, and they're a pretty run bunch. I thought, not brilliant horses, are they? Maurice Diamond will go out front. I think Highland Avenue will be there. Imperial Fighter was a good 2-year-old, wasn't he? And he started his 3-year-old campaign well, so I wouldn't put it past him running well. But I thought maybe the 3-year-old would win it, Colsai.
Okay, Colsai 3-1 then. Yeah, I don't think he quite got home at Newmarket. He came there travelling, so this could be absolutely perfect for him. But yeah, Highland Avenue 5 to 4, and like I said, Simon, I think what we need now actually is a price boost on Charlie Appleby to win this and then win the Derby, given that we just put the mockers on his horses.
Yeah, we should have you doing trading. That's not my in the know special. He's doing the stuff. We have got an in the know special. I mean, looking at tomorrow's card, there's some really competitive races. Some of those sprints look really tricky, and there's 2 short price favourites. There's Highland Avenue. And there's Prosperous Voyage in the race after the Derby. I think the double works out over 4 to 1, just shy of 9 to 2. If you're desperate to sort of put the 2 together, in the know special is a combination of those horses, but both of them have to win by more than 1 length. Need to be precise about that. More than 1 length. 16 to 1, Highland Avenue and Prosperous Voyage, both to win, and both have to win by more than 1 length. So effectively, it's the double I was talking about, but as I say, with a winning distance element as well. Tricky little race. There's money for Maurice Diamond at a big price. Ran quite well last time. Obviously, stepped in. That was a handicap into group company. We're top price 14-1, but it's shortened elsewhere. I could see Highland Avenue being quite popular. I think it'll probably win. I mean, that run behind Adayar and Anmat, given how well Anmat obviously winning the Group 1 is pre-Dispahan of the weekend, looks really solid, and he's the top-rated horse and may well win, but it's a tricky race to be confident about, I think, for all the reasons Robbie and Tom have outlined.
And just quickly, we started so well last night, Simon, but we forgot the 6 till 7 p.m. price boost tonight.
Oh! Yes, what is that one? Oh, God, this is an interesting one. This is the Derby one. I had it written down on my Derby page. Thank you, Ross. Ross, you're good. You're good. Right.
I mean, my producers are good.
James Knight clearly wants to sort of get stuck into August Rodan, and we'll come to that as to why in the Derby, given its unusual profile. But this is August Rodan to finish in the top 4 in the Derby, even money. So obviously it's bigger price than you get, even on the each way bet at the current prices. It was 4 to 6 as a special before. It's even money. So if you think August Rodan is definitely going to finish in the top 4, you can get even money, £20 max bet. But again, I think that suggests that James Knight is trying to take on August Rodan in every way possible.
Okay, and we'll go to our official adjudicator, Tom Segal.
I think August Rodan is he's boom or bust, isn't he? So why not back him to win? I think if he doesn't win, then he'll probably finish out the back, won't he? So for me, I wouldn't bother with that. I'd just back him to win.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Tom Segal. And obviously the second race on the card is the Derby, but we will leave that till later. And we move on from the Diomed Stakes to see if anyone fancies anything at home. Imperial Fighter wouldn't be without a chance on better ground, says Bubba. And as far the others, Maurice Diamond has a chance, says Off-World. Yeah, she should be the only pace angle here, but like I said, it can be done if you've got the clock of Joe Fanning, so it certainly could help. Maurice Diamond tomorrow, not that Holly Doyle certainly can't dictate from the front. So skipping the Derby, moving on to the Princess Elizabeth Stakes. Again, another small field, another fairly short price favourite here in the shape of Prosperous Voyage for Beckett and Dettori, 6-4. 11-4 Potapova, 9-2 Roman Mist, 7-1 Astral Bow, 9-1 Shirar, and Random Harvest is the 22-1 outsider of the bunch, who I actually thought had a little bit of a chance, and not just because of the tops that myself and Robbie are wearing, but it's only run 3 times on fast ground, all at Ascot, first, second and third in good races. I know obviously has weight to give away, but I thought 22-1 was a little bit extreme. But Prosperous Voyage, always going to be favoured, of course, given the man on top, and, to be fair, her form last year in good races. Tom.
Yes, me. She's got much the best form, hasn't she? Falmouth winner, Grade 1 winner. Just for me, I don't like backing horses that ran as badly as she did on a comeback. I know there might have been excuses for that, but she was well fancied. She was favourite, I think, for the Via Sestina race, and she was. Via Sestina made her look incredibly slow. Now she will have come on for that run. The ground might suit her better, but 6-4. No, can you fancy Potapova after she was pulled up last time? You can on old form. Can you back her after what happened at Goodwood last time? Don't think so. Roman Mist surely wants softer ground. Astral Bow surely wants softer ground. Shirar, I don't know. Or possibly Shirar. She's trained by John Gosden at the end of the day. Won on fast ground over 10 furlongs last year. Is this a little bit too good for her? It's possible. And so Random Harvest could run well at 22-1. I think Prosperous Voice will probably win a little bit by default, but it's not a race I will be touching because I don't really think any of them have got strong claims at their prices. Okay,
there you go. Prosperous Voyage is a 6-4 shot. Just to double check here, but 3 places here, Simon. Is that right? Because if so, then I'd like a nice bet on Random Harvest, please.
Yeah, we are offering 3 places, not 2. So obviously hoping no non-runners which might just trip that up tomorrow. But no, as long as they stand their ground, we're paying that extra place. So encouraging an each way bet.
Okay, there we go.
Be careful, Ross. Be careful, Astral Bro. Will she run?
Oh right, I see. Right, okay, yeah. That is true. Well, I don't know what to do now. Fair enough. No bet.
I thought surely they would have pulled out Astral Bow. They wouldn't have declared her because it was always going to be pretty quick, wasn't it?
Well, no, it was good. It was good ground officially. So
I always assumed throughout the week it was going to end up good to firm.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
It definitely is now, isn't it? So that's the key.
Sure. Prosperous Voyage. You were talking about you really wanted to get this horse beat, didn't you? We were chatting earlier about Zoffanies. Yeah. Got this theory that they're not quite as good when they get older. The data didn't really back it up. But I'll go with my hunch. We've just got a lot of good 2-year-olds. And
that's what the data said, isn't it? It's not
exactly.
It's not that they don't. It's not that they regress. It's just that they're very good at 2, and then they level out a little bit.
Exactly that, yeah. And if you take away her form at Newmarket, then she's basically a Group 3 filly, to be honest. Didn't like a comeback at Newmarket at all. Could win, but couldn't have her. Potapova ran really well in this last year, actually. Badly missed the break. Ryan Moore was so late in taking her hood off. That cost her. But, she's pulled up from regular heartbeat last time, so you're putting a lot of faith in Stout to get her back. I actually thought Roman Mist. I know Tom says he's worried about the ground, but she was a close third in this on good ground last year. Got the course form. She's moved to Archie Watson. That was a career best first start for the stable at Goodwood in the race Potapova's pulled up in. Could you see Archie Watson getting a bit more out of her? And, if there are 3 places available, I'd certainly like a kind of scummy each way bet on Roman Mist, to be honest.
Okay, there you go. Scummy each way bet. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I would have gone with filthy, but scummy pretty much covers it. As for the any selections at home, only 6 runners Astral Bow will run, says Bubba, but you never know because there's plenty of opportunities throughout the season. And Shirar is a big price, says Offworld, and you are right, aren't you? Gosden and Crowley, fast ground form, and like I said, I think that Via Sestina form could be completely turned on its head over the course of the summer. And then Via Sestina will probably have the summer off and come back and win in deep ground at the back end of the season. But that's the Princess Elizabeth Stakes, Prosperous Voyage 6-4. Just remind us of that price boost involving Prosperous Voyage, Simon, before we move on.
Oh, yeah, that's the one with Highland Avenue. So that's both of them, Highland Avenue and Prosperous Voyage, to win by more than 1 length. So they're the 2 shorties really on the card. And she broke her maiden, actually, Epsom Prosperous Voyage. She does, all her best form has been on that faster ground. It was soft last time. So she's actually been trimmed into 6-4 from 13 to 8. She was 7-4 earlier. So I can see her being quite solid. Jim Crowley rides. There's one ride tomorrow at Chepstow today, one ride tomorrow on Shara in this race. And he did say that, she'll need to take a big step forward off her last start, but a few of John and Sadie Golson's runners were needing the run in the spring, and they're in great form time. The filly won 3 races last season. The Golson team wouldn't be running a race like this, so they didn't feel she was up to it. She's been working nicely at home. I'm hopeful of a big run. So with those 3 places, not quite as scummy as Rowan missed, but still maybe that's worth a little.
Okay, there we go. There's the headlines.
Poor choice of word, really.
Yeah, Simon
bringing the tone down a bit there, wasn't it?
He's not Simon Clare, not quite as scummy as Robbie Wilders. That's the takeaway from this. But right, moving on then. Let's dash over to the 3-year-old dash before we get into the proper dash. This is a fascinating little race, a fascinating little idea as well. Why not get those horses? Why not get next year's dash winner a bit of a prep in this year's 3-year-old dash? But JM Jungle is 5-1, Estate is 7-1, Russet Gold is 7-1, Can is 15-2, Tatterstall 8-1, Grace Angel 9-1, Tallulah Miler 10-1, Zuffalo 11s, and bigger prices the rest. And there's about 7 front runners in this race. Tom, the likes of Can, who went wire to wire last time out, Grace Angel, Tallulah Miler. There's loads in it. Democracy Dilemma, who I thought might be a bit big, given it almost led Expert Agent at Lingfield. He's very quick out in front, but you've got come on, 20. What do you want? 20 seconds, 30 seconds, Tom? I'll time you. What wins the 3-year-old dash?
That's far too much. I mean, whose bright idea was it to have another boring 5-furlong handicap on the Derby card? Tattersall will do me. Thought he was well back. I don't know if it's he or she. She back back last time at York after winning easily the time before. He is trained by Michael Dodds, and I'm fundamentally all I do in sprints these days is tick off the Michael Dodds horse. So Tattersall will do for me. Okay,
yeah, may call, and it is a bit odd. The State's 7-1. I'm not sure why. Actually, Tatterstall is 8-1. I was just looking down here, and it was double figures, so it's starting to level out a little bit. But it's who gets the break, who gets the good early position. Did they go off too quick? Does anything come through late?
Yeah, there's just even more variables than in any other race. So I'm like Tom. I'm not a massive fan. The last thing Derby needed was another sprint, but we're here, so we'll have a go cracking it. I like the Roger Varian horse, Russet Gold. I like the pedigree. Brother to St. Lawrence, that smart sprinter of the stables. Half brother to Dye, who was a proper Group 1 filly for the stable. Only run 4 times, rated 87. Certainly St. Lawrence was a bit better when he was older. It's his first time out, but Harry Davis is booked. It's a bit of a guess-up though, isn't it, really, Ross?
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing with the 5-furlong track at Epsom. We'll see it with the dash as well. We were talking about this last night a bit. It kind of rewards one thing and one thing only, and that is pure blinding early speed.
Exactly.
I mean, Ballon d'Or will win this next year after that run today.
I agree with that.
It is. So it's one of those things where you might back a horse in this, and then after literally 10 seconds think, great, I've got an absolutely cracking bet, or after 10 seconds be tearing up your ticket, which is not the kind of bet I particularly like.
So hard to predict, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all very, very volatile, so let's move on, shall we?
Fair enough.
You did have to mention Ballon d'Or, Ross. You did have to mention it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, he's an absolute speed machine, isn't he?
Well, he did everything. I don't know what was going on there, but they went way too quick, didn't they?
Well, it's the second. I mean, there was 5 horses made the run in that race today, and he's the only one who hung around, and he still got beat on the line. So whatever. He's going to go Molecombe, Flying Childers, all that kind of stuff, isn't he?
Yeah.
But then what's he going to do
Probably
after
win one
that?
as well.
Yeah.
Is he going to be around? That's why I don't really like these young sprinters, because you never hear from them really 2 years on.
Well, you do. You hear,
or just at a very lower level. Yeah.
You hear from
they become stallions. That's the problem, aren't they? Half of them are stallions now.
Yeah.
Jungle and Memas and all those fellas.
It's not. I mean, it's not bad. If you said, look, Tom, you have to work for a year and then off you go, and you've got one job for the rest of your life after that. It's not bad, is it?
Probably take it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. Yeah, but fair enough. JM Jungle, they're 5-1 favourite here for this 3-year-old dash, and like I said, Minnesota Lad, basically the only selection from our viewers at home. Genghis 26, the only one putting his neck on the line for this Aston Martin 3-year-old dash. I'd like to see that potentially, Simon. 20 jockeys in Aston Martins rattling down Epsom over 5 furlongs, but it's a good payday, isn't it? And it's a good day out on Derby Day for owners of this. Let's try and make some positives of it, and you might back a big price winner as well.
Yeah, look, I mean, there is, the 5 furlong sprint course at Epsom. I think it is the fastest in Britain, is it, or the world, or they call it something like that. So, why not have another one? They're quite excited to watch. I know, speaking to some of the jockeys, they say it's one of those races they don't necessarily enjoy riding in because it can be really roughhouse at speed. Also, racing often bemoans the fact that the only people who ever seem to sponsor races are bookmakers. So the fact that we've got Aston Martin sponsoring, I think it's a good thing, isn't it? A bit of class. Not that I'm saying bookies are not classy. Let's move on.
Wait,
anyway,
hang on, Simon. I've got. Is this your spade? Sorry, go on.
Does anyone watch the show? No. Right. Interesting. Tallulah Miler is the one horse that's short in the belly. This race, there's been hardly a price movement on it, which I can only suggest because normally yesterday there was movements all over the place as people backed horses, but I don't think anyone can work this one out. But Tallulah Miler's been back. She's the one horse not run over 5 furlongs. All its form has been over 6, 7 furlongs. So, you think on good to firm ground, you want something that's kind of proven to be a speedball.
Simon, I would suggest that you go back and watch her run last time at Wolverhampton, where she absolutely shot off, blasted off in front, and basically was in front, running on fumes in the last 50 yards, and then finished third. So if she can show that pace over 5, then obviously people are probably thinking, if she can get to the front over 5, they ain't going to get near her.
There you go. You see, you've done more research than me, which is good. You watched her last round. I mean, the other thing, just looking at, listen, I know draws are always impossible to work out, but just quite interesting looking through the draws of the dash, that when the ground is quick, it does seem to favour the lower draws, whereas when the ground is sort of good to soft, you get sort of loads of high draw numbers. So on that basis alone, I thought I'd have a little chucker to Miss Brazen, drawn 3, who was travelling really well into the closing stages at York last time, just ran out of puff. I thought on this better ground, loads of forms on fast ground. I thought Miss Brazen might be interesting from that draw. And Democracy, a big price, Democracy Dilemma. Last time out was drawn 8 in the sprint at Chester, pulled too hard, but been running quite consistently, not out of the frame really before that on the all-weather. So I thought with Holly Doyle on board from draw 1, which has got a good record in the dash, very quick. Those would be my 2 at each way prices because we've got to at least have a couple of tips.
Yeah, and I can't wait to completely bomb out of the play spot in this race. Really looking forward to it. So it's JM Jungle 5 to 1 favourite them. Talked quite a lot about that 245 at Epsom. Well, if you liked that, you're going to love this. It's the 320, of course. It is the actual dash, the Aston Martin dash, with 20 of them for 50 grand here. Can you make 50 grand in a minute? Yes, you can if you win this race. Clarendon House 8-1, Live in the Moment 8-1, Mockatil 9-1, Silky Wilkie 10-1, Ancient Times 10-1, Sampa 7-10s, Vintage Clarets 11s, Lihu is 12s, and loads of other speedballs in here as well. Alligator Alley's got form round here. Look out, Louis, a bit of an all or nothing horse, but he's got a little bit of quality, as has Novello. But Robbie, in contrast to the 3-year-old race, I kind of looked at this and I went through a lot of them and I thought, no, don't fancy. Often I look at the dash and I ended up with 10 or 12 runners. I only ended up with 3 or 4 after this.
Oh, really? Who are they?
It's a good question. Clarendon House, Ancient Times, Silky Wilkie, and Lihu.
Lihu. Not came from the dock?
He comes from the back.
He does.
Which is not ideal.
Yeah, it can be done, though.
It can be
done. They go too quick.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, he was my tentative selection. He's just on a great mark, isn't he? He began last season rated 108. He's off 91. He showed a little bit more promise at Newmarket last time, I thought. The problem is if it's all going to be up in a bit too quick for him. But I think you never really know, do you? So I think it might be paying to worth finding out at about 18-1 or something like that. But yeah, it's not one that it's probably not a bet I'd be having. But if there was one, it'd be that.
Okay. Well, and if we're both right, it's going to be a right old day for Ed Walker and Safi Osborne if they win this in that race earlier on. But okay, so I've got 4. Robbie's got 1. Tom Segal, starting my stopwatch now.
Well, I as I say, I don't really understand these races, but I thought all I know about Epsom and Dashes is that horses come back time and time and year after year after year and run well in the race time after time. So Mocketil will do for me. He's won the race. He was 4th last year, an unlucky 4th last year. He's back on a lower mark than he was last year. And Ian Williams, who has a great record at these big meetings, obviously targets Derby Day. He's booked a young apprentice from Ireland, Sean D. Bowen, not Sean the Bowen, who won the Grand National came 4th in the Grand National on Noble Yates. He's booked Mocketil, £7 claimer. Don't know if he'll be able to claim all his £7, but he will do for me because he's 3 from 5 at the track. He was very unlucky when 4th in the race last year. He's just going to run well if the breaks come. That's the key with this race. Will he get any breaks? If he does, I think he's got a very good chance. Okay,
then Mocketil at 9 to 1. I think of the ones I mentioned, the one I thought was probably the most interesting is Silky Wilkie, who showed blinding pace at Musselburgh, went off too quick over 6 behind Garris and Soft Ground last time in a Group 3. I mean, Silky Wilkie, a bit like Tallulah Myler in the last race, 6 furlong /5 furlong early speed, Simon, and they might struggle to get past Silky Wilkie. But like I said, there's lots of early pace in here. There's a lot of course form, a lot of luck needed.
Yeah, we got the extra place, 5 places, not 4. You're going to love our In the Know special then, because it is Clarendon House and Silky Wilkie, 10 to 1, both to finish in the top 4 from 8 to 1. So we'll have to do some maths to work out, but it should be an enhancement of what you would expect back the match. So both your selections are a good tipster to finish in the top 4, 10 to 1. Very tough race. Good money, obviously, with Tom's selection. Mocketil, he's now 9 to 1. Mountain Peak did quite well back. Was it placed last year, but it's carrying more weight this year. So, it's a hell of a race. I've gone for a couple here. I thought, what were my selections? Yeah, listen, I'm chucking one based on the draw. A couple of bits on the draw. Recon Mission, a very fast horse, always tries to get out there, get in the lead. Drawn 1. Molly Phillips won 2 of her 8 rides in the last couple of weeks. Been riding a lot of Brighton. So she's not averse to an undulating, tricky little track, albeit this will be like nothing she's ever ridden before at Epsom over 5 with this big field. And the other one was Clarendon House, the horse you've gone for. I thought well drawn, obviously a bit of fast, loads of speed. Should get a great position early, and I think he'll run a brilliant race. Those are my 2.
Okay, there you go. And that prize boost, yeah, it's probably about right, isn't it? Given first 4, it would be quarter of the odds. I guess it probably is working out about that, but still, it's not wrong. So we'll take it. That's the dash then at 3:20. Just remind us what your
came from the dark, tentatively.
Came from the dark, and Tom.
Mocketil for me, the old boy Mocketil, 8-year-old, but Caspian Prince when he was that age, and I think he can run really well again.
Okay, and it's the kind of race with Bowen on board. You want to be throwing a dart, don't you? That's.
Yeah.
There you go, and you might win a speedboat if you're lucky. But
could afford a speedboat, an Aston Martin perhaps.
Yeah, there you go.
I thought Simon was mentioning Aston Martin so many times because he wanted to get in the Aston Martin champagne bar, but as Masakela blew out yesterday, he didn't actually get any champagne by the look of things.
No, I did go and watch the race with my friends, the Mariscottis, but I let them go off to chat to the jockey and the beaten horses and slipped away.
Just had a picture of them turning around going, wow, is it? Oh, no, we haven't won, so he's gone. Fair enough.
Where's the champagne? He's thinking, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh my, get out of here.
He was off to find George Bowie. Train the winner. Maybe I don't know. You could have an Aston Martins, Cadillacs. It's all going on. Anyway, 3:55 at Epsom. Let's move on to this 10 furlong 3-year-old handicap. There, 0 to 100, and 14 of them run. So really nice horses in here on paper, anyway. But plenty of soft ground form, which will be interesting to see if the ground is as quick as it was today. Balance Play 4 to 1, Torito 4 to 1, Fox Journey 9 to 2, Sol KO 10s with Promoter and Masai Mara 11s, 12 to 1, and Bigger the rest. But yeah, the main thing I looked at this, Tom, was that pretty much all of them at single figures would, on their form so far, prefer an easier surface. Does that make the race a little bit open to a bigger price winner?
Well, yeah. Possibly, but the point is they're all young horses. They've only had 3 runs. They probably want a fast surface. All they've been able to run on is a soft surface. So it's possible that none of them like fast ground. I doubt that very much. I thought I was being really, really smart all week. I've been keeping it under wraps. This balanced play, he's got a great chance in there. I see 4-1 favourite. Well done, genius again. I just thought he had a really good chance. He cost 280,000, I think. He's a very expensive horse. He's very well bred. He went to Salisbury for his comeback run over 7 furlongs, and he bumped into Kudwar, I think it was, who came and won under a penalty next time. And he was in front of Greek Order, who won a good race at Sandown despite pulling really hard. I think Greek Order's probably got a stone in hand of his current mark, and Balance Play split them. He's bred to be a lot better over 10 furlongs. Rafe Beckett has a very good record in these races. All these sort of handicap races he does really well in. And at the time I thought, why is he booked Andrea at Zenny? Surely Rob Hornby will be riding him, or Ross Orion or whatever. But then I looked at his stat with Andrea at Zenny, and they have a very, very good record together, massively in profit, if I remember. So I thought everything pointed me to Balance Play, apart from the price. I think he was a double-figure price yesterday, and now he's into favouritism. But he was the one I liked. Torito was obviously ties in. We'll come to the Derby later, but he was second to a horse running in the Derby at Sandown last time, despite doing a lot wrong. He pulled quite hard. He got behind. He sort of missed the break, and he came with a really good challenge against Rafe Beckett's horse that's running in the Derby, Artistic, whatever it's called. But he didn't get past. He's obviously a little bit higher in the weights. I just thought the 3 at the top, Fox Journey, Michael Stout's Roaring Lion horse, they probably, the best trainers tend to have so much ammunition, they can keep one back for an expensive race or a valuable race like that. So they were my 3. It's nothing, great. You can make a case for loads of others on form. I just thought that those 3 probably had £10 in hand, probably, and I came down on the side of Balance Play.
Okay. I thought the Andrea Zini angle might be 8 stone 7 as well. It's got something to do with that. Might be pretty much the...
Yeah, and Rob Hornby can do that weight, but it's not for a long time. So
yeah, it's his lowest in the last 12 months, and Ross Orion wouldn't do it, so I think that it's probably play it safe with that. But anyway, okay. I thought Sol KO was a little bit interesting. He was running against good horses last year, and also Sight Door I thought might run a nice race. This is a drop in grade, complete outside a lot. 2 runs at Epsom, both very good. What about you, Robbie?
Totally echo Tom on Balance Play. He's also related to Khalidi, who was second in the King Edward at Royal Ascot a few years ago. He's just going to get so much better over middle distances. But the price is gone. The one I also like at the odds is Silver Sword. Quite liked him for the London Gold Cup. But he didn't run for something. There was like travel issues or something, but he didn't run that day. He was quite well backed. But he's going to love this fast ground. His dam was a proper stay. Probably stayed further than 2 miles. He's up to 1 mile 2 now. Just a lot of his novice form reads quite well. He wasn't beaten far by Military Order on his first proper start. He was quite quirky when he was younger. He refused a couple of times, but he seems to have settled down a bit now. He's just going the right way. And this Dylan Cunha trainer is a trainer to watch, I think. He's 1 at Epsom, and he's just going a bit under the radar. So Silver Sword at the odds for me.
Okay, there you go. Silver Sword at 12-1. Now we've still got 2 more races to go before we actually have to preview the Derby, Simon. So very quickly, any angles or offers at this 3:55 before we run out of time for the big race?
No, listen, money for Balance Play and Torito. They're both shortening 4-1, each of 2 from 9-2 and 5-1 respectively, and money for Silver Sword. So the Robbie Wilder money, that's 11-1. Top price with Coral was 14-1 earlier. Just one to mention, Perfect Play. My neutral stud and Ozzy Ardiaz, the Tottenham fans, the Ozzy Ardiaz syndicate. Alan Brazil, who's my colleague, he's the man who anchors Talk Sport breakfast show, which we sponsor. Has been talking about this horse a lot. He won at Chester last time, was fancy. I think the plan was to go to Royal Ascot next, but he decided to come here first. And Alan Brazil saying, he's very bullish as he would be that he's going to run a huge race. He's a big price at 12-1, but obviously a hot little 3-year-old hand.
Okay, there you go. 2 more races before we go back in time to preview the Derby with the 4:30. A 1.5 handicap, plenty of course form on offer. Keys Chorister, 11-4, likes this track. Scampi very much likes this track. Track is 130. Max Mayhem, 9-2. 11-2, Seeking. Halifon, 15-2. Sheer Rocks, I thought was interesting, also at 15-2, and it's 14s bar those. Again, quickly over to you for this one, Robbie.
Keys Chorister was entered in the Coronation Cup earlier this week. Didn't run in that, obviously, for the right reason. She was a mass improver last season. She was winning handicaps off ratings in the 50s. Now she's up to 99, but It was a really good run and a comeback. I just thought of the odds, like you just pointed out, Sheer Rocks, wearing the Sheer Rocks silks. But he just looked a completely different animal at Ascot on his return since he's been gelded, didn't he? He's always been quite highly regarded. He ran the Blue Ribbon trial here last season, quite babyish. He seems to have just put it all together. He's only up £2 for that Ascot win. Second time out, Harry Davis up. I think he could be worth a stab for sure. I thought I'd have had him shorter than that, certainly. Yeah,
I agree. It's very rare you see a horse scoot up the inside rail at Ascot and win like that. They usually come rattling down the outside, and he's got half decent form on fast ground last year as well. What did you make of this 4:30, Tom?
Thought it was a really good race. Big fan of Scampi as a horse. I thought he might end up being an Ebor horse. Obviously, he's won the Win in Your In race the other day, so he might. I'm not sure I don't know if they want to win lots of races. I suppose this is a valuable race, but he could get into the Ebor off of Mark World, what he's off now, 92, getting loads of weight, a stone from everything else. So, don't know whether that, but I like him as a horse. I think he's got a load going for him. Keys Chorister, yes. I don't think he'll mind the ground. Just, he likes, is it he or she, likes making the running. And I just wondered whether, as looking at the race today, you just got to be careful. You've got to be cute off the front there, because if you get going too soon, you'll get swamped. I thought Halifon, my Ian Williams fetish, comes back to haunt me, but he was, I don't know if you remember the race last year. I still can't believe he got beaten. I've watched the race 20 times over. He was in front. He definitely won the photo, but he didn't. Midnight's Legacy was given the photo, but he was ahead in front before the line. He was ahead in front after the line, but he lost the photo. He's off a slightly higher mark, but he then went to Chester and he ran down the horse that was second in the Ebor and won the big Alfred Boucher. He beat him off a higher mark than he's running off today at Chester. He obviously likes these sort of idiosyncratic tracks. He's got the cheek pieces back on. Just thought everything was right for him, and as I say, I like Ian Williams in these big races. I think he targets them really well. So Halifon for me, but I am scared of Scampi.
Okay, there you go. Fish allergy, is it?
Hey.
Yeah, I just watched the closing stage of that replay back, and I still don't understand how he got beat either. So, fair enough. Keys will like the fast ground and trip. Genghis says Scampi to fry home.
Distasteful.
Lovely stuff. And Stephen Jackson Entertainment says Scampi owner here. Let's go and get the win. And again, I'm slightly biased, but I agree with you, Stephen Jackson. So, really good race. Simon, if you don't mind, just nod if it's okay. If I'm going to skip on to the 5:05, and then I'll come back to you, because as far as I can see, you've got no extra places or offers in this. Is that okay?
All I'd say is Halifon has halved in price. Now, it was 6-1 a couple of hours ago. It's now 8-1. And I should have chucked in Seeking Mark Prescott. He's had 6 winners from 10 starts. This is his time of year when he starts to get going. So I thought Seeking at 5-1 was interesting.
Okay, lovely stuff. We know, given who just talked Halifon up, why he's halved in price, Mr. Segal. The last race at Epsom tomorrow then is another sprint, 14 of them, 5:05, 6 furlongs the distance. Mr. Wagyu coming back for another crack. We've got Probe and Haymaker and Apollo 1 all fairly unexposed. Many a star who loves a fast ground sprint. But Probe and Mr. Wagyu 4-1 joints, Haymaker 6s, Apollo 1 13-2, 10-1 barred those. Tom Segal again, 30 seconds please. The final winner of the day at Epsom.
Everyone seems to tell me Mr. Wagyu's going to win. I'm not convinced. I'm a massive Probe fan, worried about the ground for him. I thought he won that big race at Newmarket with loads in hand. I think he's a group sprinter in the making. If he was drawn anywhere but stall 14, I'd be very keen on Apollo 1. And I still am keen on Apollo 1 because I think he'll get out and he'll get a position. And if they come up the middle like they did today, I think Apollo 1 will go well.
Okay, Apollo 1. I thought Many a Star was a little bit interesting. He was beaten in this last year, but he completely blew the start. And then half a furlong from home, he's still on the bridle. But he's never been another frame on fast ground. He's got a good record fresh. I thought he had a big chance. What about you, Robbie?
Mr. Wagyu for me. He obviously won it last year, didn't he, off £2 lower. He got up to 104. He's now back down to 96, and he ran much better at York last time than he has in a long time. So I imagine this has been the sort of long-term aim, and he'd be the one. Tough old race, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You don't want a tough Wagyu, though, do you? And a specialist. Odd tip for a vegan, but never mind. Probe 4-1, Mr. Wagyu 4-1 in the finale at Epsom. Simon, over to you before we get to the Derby.
Yeah. A quick mention for the Cora Racing Club, the free-to-join racing club that Cora runs. If you haven't joined, please do. We've got two trainers here who train for the club. John Quinn with Mr. Wagyu, as Robbie said, got to have a great chance of a £2 higher up than last year. And many a star, you mentioned it, Paul and Oliver Cole trained this one. And again, he was 130 favourite for this last year, ran a good race. And, we'll love this ground. I think he'll go well. And we also have Conservative running tomorrow at Doncaster, trained by Scott Dixon in the Coral Race Cup colours. He's in the 4:35. He's the outsider of 6, but quite a weak spot. We're hoping for a decent run from him.
Okay, thank you very much, Simon. Let's move on then to the feature of the day, possibly the feature of the summer. We had a fantastic performance in last year's Derby, of course. Will we see another, I could say, superstar? Will we see a horse who wins this, and will we see that horse again in the season? Plenty of questions. Will Frankie Dettori win after taking the Oaks today? He's on board Arrest at 7-2. It's been a long time, about the best part of 10 years since Camelot, that we had a Group 1 winning 2-year-old go on and win the Derby. Auguste Rodin, of course, he's going for that. He's 7-2. Military Order is 9-2 for the yard that we've said their horses are running particularly well. Passenger 13-2. Richard Kingscote, of course, so good in this race last year and so frustrated after his ride on this horse last time at York. The Foxes, Andrew Balding said this was his best horse in the stable last year. Well, there's a chance to prove it. Jessica Harrington's in cracking nick with Spruwell, of course, at 12-1. White Birch came from God knows where at York last time out. He's 12-1. Dubai Miles got Group 1 form that ties in with the rest, and he's 18-1 here. And then you've got San Antonio, Artistic Star, Wapiro, Adelaide River, King of Steel, and Dear My Friend, making up the 2023 Derby field. But you said you're a pedigrees man, Tom. There's loads of Derby winning pedigrees potentially on the table here. But there's questions to answer for all sorts of them. Arrest with the draw. Auguste Rodin ran a stinker last time out. His Military Order's form any good? His Passenger, was they unlucky last time out, or were people making too much of it? What did you make of the Derby this year?
I think it's fascinating. I think the thing about the Derby is that we talk about every year is that it's not about what they've done, it's about what they might do or what they're going to do. I mean, it's the same every year. People say, oh, this one hasn't got the form, this one hasn't. Every single Derby winner improves on Derby day. You know what I mean? And so what we don't know is how good they are. We're trying to project what these horses might become.
Yeah, you look at like you said, like saying it's been 10 years since we saw a good 2-year-old win this. Your Golden Horns, your Desert Crowns, they were winning back-end maidens. Adiyars, people might make into a Derby horse, but you're right. The proof's in the pudding tomorrow. Never mind everything else has just been a prep.
Yeah, I did my anti-post piece for this straight after the 2000 Guineas, and the last 3 winners had won a maiden between them. I think Desert Crown had won a maiden, Serpentine hadn't won any race. Yeah, and
Adiyar had won a Nottingham.
Won a race.
Yeah,
he hadn't won a race. So you're sitting here, or we might have won a Nottingham maiden, maybe won 2 Nottingham maidens between them. That's it. So you're sitting here sort of thinking, these horses, any of them could improve massively. So it's hard to, pin anything down. I think Arrest will drift tomorrow. I know people say the Frankie money will come, but I think the exchanges will be against him. I think they'll think the ground is too quick for him. I don't know if it is or not. He's by Frankel, who is, the best sire in the world, as was proven today again with Soul Sister. So I could see, most of his horses like fast ground, so he might like it, he might not, who knows, but I think he might drift tomorrow. People will be against him. I don't know whether the Irish lads will want to back Auguste Rodin. I think they probably will. I could see him starting favourite again. For me, you can't back him, can you? Because he's 7-2, even his 2-year-old form's not that great. You know what I mean? Beating Holloway Boy and Epictetus is good, but it's not brilliant. So I'm you can't really back him. Military Order is solid. He's definitely got the pedigree. He's definitely got the stable. He's definitely got the stamina. Just don't know how good he is. That's my problem. He looked good at Lingfield, but he did get the perfect trip. So I don't know. 9-2 is plenty short enough for me. Passenger's one of those horses that people like backing because they think he was unlucky. I think he was unlucky, but will he stay the trip? He didn't exactly explode when he got out. So I don't know for him at 13-2. I liked the 2 horses by Churchill, the Foxes and Sprewell or whatever you want to call it. I thought those two were the ones for me, really. I just think the Foxes is totally underestimated. I don't know why. His whole family, nearly all of them, stayed at least a mile and a half Some of them stayed 2 miles. I think the thing about him is that he's got an electric turn of foot. He's shown it umpteen times where he gets to the front and then he sort of does nothing. I think Oisin Murphy's getting used to riding him now. I think he's going to hold him up for a much later run than he did at York. I think he can go really well because I think he'll love the ground. The thing about the York race, it was run on very fast ground and the Foxes relished it. Sprewell, I just have always liked. I think he's been the most impressive trial winner by quite some way. You know, he won a proper trial, the Leopardstown Derby trial, by 3 lengths going away, and would have won by 5 in another another half furlong. The time boys don't like him, but I thought just the eye test made me think that he would go well. So
to be fair, Tom, I think the time boy, you couldn't have backed Soul Sister on the times, could you?
No. But the sectional time boys even don't think he was. You know what I mean. At least the sectional said that Soul Sister was very fast. He ran a couple of fast furlongs, to be fair to him, and then sort of was a bit slower in the last furlong. But I think he can go really well. I just like him. I think he'll like the ground. I think most of Churchill's horses like fast ground. So you can make a case for White Birch. I'm just worried about the draw for him. Stall 2, I think he'll get too far behind and then have to loop the field. That's hard to do. Dubai Mile he's right in there with the rest and for the Foxes on 2-year-old form. You know, and I think he's sure to stay the trip, isn't he, on everything he's done. So it's just whether he's quite classy enough. And you could throw in Rafe Beckett's unbeaten horse. He's like Adayar, isn't he? He's by Galileo. He's won both his races.
Yeah, I really liked it. Again, I'm slightly worried about the ground quickly enough, but I really liked the way he kept going and going and going at Sandown. And obviously, you know, Sandown's been a nice little springboard actually for a big run at Epsom over the last few years. But
The only problem I got with him is I think he's only just been 3. I think he's the youngest horse in the race by quite some way. I think he's got potential to be as good as all of them. It's just whether today will come too soon for him. At the prices, you can take a chance. And then you've got San Antonio, you've got Adelaide River, you've got all those ones that are going to could easily take a big jump forward for better ground. So there's a lot of guessing going on. I just thought that the Foxes and Sprewell were too big a price on what they've done and what they potentially could do, and I think they'll both stay the trip.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, and like you said, Churchill, just having a look at his stats over a mile and a half, and it's very good. 21% strike rate over a mile and a half. That is 48 runners, 10 winners, and that is a pretty good strike rate. Again, given that he's not had that many.
Verdini's Churchill, isn't he? He ran very well in the Arc.
Yeah, okay. And just had a commenter here say Jessica Harrington's in good form. I've heard it all now. She literally had a treble yesterday, so it's set up quite nicely for Epsom. There's Tom's thoughts on the Derby. What do you make of the race in general? It looks a wide open one.
It's fascinating, yeah. It's much better than those sprints we were talking about earlier. Arrest is just way too short, isn't he? I mean, that's obviously the Frankie fact. That's a connections thing, isn't it? Because how you could have Dubai Mile at 18-1 when he's already beaten him, and he beat him through rallying and staying that day in the Songclair race. He's just going to be so much better at a mile for Dubai Mile, so he'll be one of my selections. I like the comeback in the Guineas. Clearly, a mile was too short for him. It was always the plan to come here after. He just shouldn't be 18-1 for me. And like Tom, Sprewell, I've been on him a long time out. Just that Derby trial form at Epsom just being underestimated big time. I mean, the horse he beat up and under, White Birch, only narrowly beat. He's beaten 3 lengths easily. White Birch nearly came out and won the Dante. So in collateral form lines, you know, if an Aidan O'Brien horse won that Derby trial as easily, then they'd be among the favourites. So they're the two for me that stood out as being overpriced. And you're getting 4 places, Simon.
Is he? He is back.
3 places with Carl. Yes.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
You need that spade again.
I'll have 2 win bets. Sprewell and Dubai Mile.
Okay,
there you go. Well, you better make up for that, Simon. There better be a good offer here. What do you got?
Well, we got a few. We got Arrest to finish in the top 3 is 5-4 from even money. An Irish train winner, got plenty running for you, is 6-4 from 6-5. And one of these complicated ones, August Rodin or Military Order to win the Derby by over 1.5 length is 9-2 from 7-2. And we still got that even money August Rodin finished in the top 4, £20 max for the next 3 minutes, which was a 4-6 chance. But all the money for Arrest, 7-2 joint favourite with August Rodan with us, but clear favourite with most other firms. Be interested to see what happens tomorrow. Like Tom said, if the boys decide to back August Rodan, they'll probably start favourite. If they don't, the Frankie Dettori factor could well ensure that Arrest goes off favourite. I like the Dante form, the boxers. I think looking at the form. The one thing I'd say is August Rodan and all previous Derby form. We've had a couple of horses win on seasonal debut like Charmit and Lantara, but all Derby winners either get placed in recognised trials or they win their race before the Derby. And so for him to come off a 22-length defeat, even if it wasn't a Guineas, and win this would be an extraordinary training performance by a man who can do these sort of things. So I'm fascinated. I can't believe it's in Derby after that last run, but I'm sure I could be my words come there 138 or something tomorrow. So it'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, and it's like I said, anyone else, and you look at it and thinking that's the worst price in existence, but you can kind of sort of understand it, I guess. Okay, so it's a wide open stuff. Then let's get a few selections from the viewers before we sum it up. Military Order and Spruill are a double play, says David Foster. Passenger will stay, says Vortex Fitness, and will win on the bridle. Big shout there. And as for the rest, Passenger all day, says a couple of other people as well. White Birch and Spruill each way for Cheese. Good evening to you. Cheese. Arrest 7-2 then at August Rodan, 7-2. Joint favourites for the Derby 2023, but you're playing two against the field, Robbie.
I'm playing Spruill and Dubai Mile. They're the two overpriced ones in my eyes.
Okay, lovely stuff. And the Derby angle for you, Tom?
Well, I like Spruill, was my original choice, and I also like the Foxes. We've got to say, Andrew Balding in Colts Classics, he's got a miles better record in the last 3 years than Aidan O'Brien, believe it or not. He's had 3 horses placed in the race at massive prices. He's won 2 Guineas. He's a top-class trainer. If he thinks the Foxes is his best chance, that'll do for me. He'll run really well, I think.
Okay, fair enough. And I think it's an incredibly open race, but I can't let Artistic Star get on back. But like you said, it was his birthday this week, Artistic Star, so he is a youngster. But Anthony Van Dyke, I should have clicked back through. Anthony Van Dyke has also only just turned 3 as well, so it can be done. But what it made me think, Tom, was I'm going to back this horse tomorrow, but probably back him for the Ledger as well, given who trains him, and they might well develop over the course of time. And Simon, Derby for you?
Yeah, the boxers for me, Dante. I love backing the Dante winner. Interesting enough, the 2 outsiders have been well backed. There's always a few which get well backed because plenty run into the frame, don't they? Artistic Star, which is sort of 22 to 1 from, I think it was 33 or bigger, and San Antonio, the Aidan O'Brien second string who won at Chester. And sometimes you see an Aidan O'Brien horse actually almost a big price O'Brien horse end up faring best of his runners. So those are the 2 outsiders. But the Foxes for me.
Okay, thank you very much. And we'll be getting the naps on Derby Day after this. Right, let's get the naps on Derby Day at Epsom. Starting off with the man to my left wearing the same colours. 2 plums in the studio. What are we going for?
I'm going to say let's take advantage of the 3 places of Coral and the 2.10 at Epsom. The Princess Elizabeth. Let's back Roman Mist each way.
Okay, lovely stuff. Roman Mist it is then. Tom Segal?
Well, it's only the Derby for me, really. I like Halifon and I like balance play, but I like the Foxes and Spruill, and I'll be backing both of them.
Okay, so a Dutch nap then. And yeah, Simon?
Sorry.
I think Prosperous Voyage will win the 2.10. I think she'll be too strong. I mean, she's the short price 6 to 4, but that's nap material.
Okay, lovely stuff. And I'll go for Many a Star to win the sprint on his reappearance and close out the Derby card tomorrow. Thanks to everyone for watching. Like I said, if you haven't already, make sure you do like the stream and subscribe to the channel. And we'll be back, what is it, 2-3 weeks now for a bit of Royal Ascot action. But fingers crossed that we have a fantastic Derby day at Epsom tomorrow. Best of luck. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.